Welcome to the Twin Cities Real Estate Show, sponsored by Bricks Real Estate. I'm Kirk Duckwell. Joining me is Chad Vandelot and Brian Durham, and we are the House Geeks. If you have any questions for us, give us a call at 612-207-5388. Again, 612-207-5388. Check us out online by typing in, go to our website, housegeeks.com, or follow us on Facebook. Yes.
Yeah. House Geeks.
Type in House Geeks. Yes. All right.
With the look for the house and the glasses.
Like on my jacket.
It's House Geeks.
Yes. All right. Today we are talking about the importance of home inspections. This is something that, I cannot put enough weight behind as how, I get offended when I see agents like removing inspection contingencies, like, oh my God, what disservice are you just about to do to your clients? Oh, well, there was a truth in housing done on it. Well, that's not good enough. Or I'm just going to have, my brother take a quick look at it, before we finish signing.
It's my favorite one.
Yeah. No,
my cousin is a contractor, he was like 20 years ago, so I'm just going to have him look at it. It'd be great.
Right. I think a home inspection, you really have to have somebody who's the trained professional that knows how to dig apart and look into just a huge gamut of items, not just, run through and you're done in a half hour after peeking up at the roof, popping the attic real quick, running downstairs, opening up the furnace, peek your head in there. Oh, everything looks good. This is just, I can't stress how important having a home inspection is.
Well, Kirk, I know you and I have talked that we see upwards of 1,000 homes a year, and we're constantly evaluating homes on a daily basis. I know you and I both bought homes within the last couple of years. I know I got an inspection on my home, and did you?
I did. I would never buy a house without having one. Luckily today we have Ruben Saltzman from Structure Tech joining us. Thank you, Ruben, for coming in.
Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it. One of the best home inspection companies, I think, around the Twin Cities. The amount of services that you guys provide, just all-encompassing home inspection company, that you're not having to run around to try to find, one person to check this, one company to check this, one company to check that, another company to check that, which can be really hard to orchestrate, especially in the kind of market that we're in right now, where things are moving so fast to try to put that all together. And then just your guys' knowledge base and your experience. One of the things that just really throws me off in the home inspection business in Minnesota is there really isn't as far as I know, a licensing procedure for home inspectors.
No, there's nothing whatsoever. You can be a home inspector today if you'd like to call yourself one.
Sweet.
That's all it takes.
Don't tell him that. That's dangerous information in Kirk's hands.
So, it really blows my mind. Now, I do know that there are classes and certifications. There are some, like, national and international, I think, organizations that most, I should say, home inspectors try to go through before they just slap that title on.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah. Now, I'm assuming you guys have done some of those programs, and what are those programs?
Yeah, back when I first started getting into this, I started with my dad in '97, and I remember people would always call. I was the one answering the phones, and people would always call and they'd say, we want someone who's ASHI certified. ASHI is for the American Society of Home Inspectors. And people would always ask for that. And my dad had a lot of training. He had a certification as a certified building official, but people wanted somebody with training from ASHI. And eventually it got to the point where I said, as soon as I'm a home inspector on my own, I'm going to get ASHI certified. And so I joined up with ASHI right away. They're the oldest, most well-respected organization for home inspectors out there. And, they have a proctored exam. You need to do 250 fee-paid home inspections and make sure that you're doing them right before you get fully certified. They've got a lot of good things going on, and I've been a big fan of ASHI for a long time. We have a local chapter here called the Heartland chapter of ASHI. I'm the president of that group. I've been the president for almost 3 years now, and I spend a lot of my time just trying to give back to that organization. I'm also on the board at a national level. I'll be on the board for the next 3 years, so I'm very rah-rah ASHI.
Yeah. Rah-rah ASHI.
Well, and above and beyond that, I noticed that when I get inspections from you, from my buyers, from your company, Structure Tech, oftentimes I will see people who are in training along with the more senior inspectors at your organization.
Yeah.
And not only will I see them, but I might see them on training 4 months later too.
You're right.
You know, so
yes.
it's a
And
really,
that's a good thing. I mean, I
Yeah.
think one of the biggest downfalls in our industry in real estate, I mean, you know, loan officers, title people, realtors, and inspectors is that, you know, it's like, okay, your license, here you go. And there's no, you know, there's no on-the-job training. And I know
Absolutely.
with Bricks Real Estate and our company, we want agents to shadow us. We want them to learn about the biggest, most important investment, you know, that buyer's probably about to make to that
That's
point.
really commendable that you guys do that. That's fantastic. You're improving your profession.
You know, and one of the reasons I know Brian and Chad that why have gotten our brokers licenses and you're working on getting yours is to, you know, do everything that we can to become as educated as possible, even if we're just doing it only for that purpose, not to go open up our own firm. You know, just get it to have the education and to pass that knowledge along to the newer agents and help them out. I think that's really cool that you're doing that on the inspection side because I see so many people, hey, I'm a home inspector now, here's my card. Okay,
oh
well,
my goodness, yes.
I constantly, I get mailed these little envelopes with, 10 business cards in there. I do home inspections if you haven't heard of me. Well, I've heard of you because you haven't made yourself known, you know,
Yeah.
you just...
Yeah, well, it's very tough to get into this business, and unless you have a company who's willing to let you shadow for, I mean, we have our guys training for 4 to 8 months. I say guys and one woman. We have them shadow for a long time. I mean, it's a long training process, and for anybody who doesn't have that opportunity, I don't know what you could possibly do. You can go to a 1 or 2 week school, and then how are you supposed to go out and do it on your own? People print out cards, they send them to agents, and they hope they get calls. That's exactly it.
Yeah, I think I have had a couple of my clients get inspections from the woman that you were referring to, and she was also the one that I was referring to when I said I saw her on training 4 months later.
Yeah.
And I found out she came from the home construction business too, didn't she?
Energy auditing and energy improvement. She's got a very strong background in all that. That's Tessa.
Yeah, absolutely. So she had a strong background in home building, energy auditing, yet she still went through that same 4-month, 6-month training period that everybody else did. And
Exactly.
Ruben, you might have touched on this a little bit, but how you said that you had watched your dad when you were going to become an inspector that you wanted to get the ASHI certification. So has that been part of your life? Is that how you got into this? Was just kind of a family business?
That's exactly it. My dad got into home inspections right around 1990 or so. He did construction. I grew up swinging a hammer from the age of about 6 on. So I've done home improvement and stuff like that all my life. But then eventually he got into home inspections, and I kind of followed along with him. Started with Structure Tech in '97, about 7 years later when he bought this business. And then I started doing home inspections full-time on my own around 2004. And now I don't really do a whole lot of home inspections anymore. Now I do about 1 a week. The rest of it is running the business.
Yeah. Sure. Well, I'll tell you, when you came in and were talking with our brokerage, I loved some of the videos that you've done testing things. You know, I'm really geeky when it comes to the tech of real estate, and when I saw how geeky you got into the just seeing how things can happen and really, okay, why is this happening, and break it apart.
Yes.
On a very technical level. It's like, okay.
I bet you're a big fan of Mythbusters, aren't you?
I love it. I absolutely love
right.
Mythbusters.
Come to me high.
My favorite was the one where you're showing the video of the panels burning the houses down. That was exciting.
Oh yeah, everybody liked that guy.
Yeah.
So we did talk a little bit about the services that you guys provide in the last couple minutes of this segment. Let's just maybe mention those services on air here. So
yeah, everything that you cover.
Sure. I should have the website up. I can't even remember everything anymore.
got the website.
Oh,
there you go.
You guys are awesome. All right, well, we do home inspections, obviously. That's the big one. We've gotten into commercial inspections a lot more lately. We've got 2 guys trained to do commercial inspections. We do moisture testing on stucco. If somebody's buying a newer stucco home, just about every time they're going to want to get that moisture tested. But it's not just for stucco. We do that on all types of houses, wood, siding, vinyl, you name it. That's something we specialize in. We do radon testing. That's huge here in Minnesota. We do infrared with every home inspection. It's now something that we're offering for free. We used to charge an extra fee for that. We found it so useful, we just decided this is just going to be a tool that we
Infrared,
bring
so
along.
is that the same as kind of what we have with our little camera? Is that
I'm sure
the same
it's
kind of
thermal
technology?
cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
whatever you got, I'm sure we got something similar. Yep. We do those. Sewer inspections are an add-on service, and I mean, it's like you were saying, it makes it so much more convenient for you to schedule the inspection. That's why we did this.
Right. Yeah. It's a lifesaver as a realtor. It's a lifesaver as a home buyer to have all of those at your fingertips. Because how often?
And have unbiased opinions for.
Did you say fireplace? Or do you?
Yeah, we do fireplace inspections,
Oh.
chimney inspections.
Oh my gosh! I mean, how many times have we had something show? Okay, inspector goes in. Oh, you want to look into this farther, and then now you have to get an extension on the inspection just to have somebody come back out and check out the fireplace.
Yes, and I mean, those have just been completely demand-driven. We've had so many people say, gosh, it'd be nice if you guys did this. So we don't do that anymore. We do it. And then we do the well and septic inspections too.
All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break and be right back with Ruben Saltzman with Structure Tech. Thank you again for coming out. We'll be back in a couple minutes. Check us out online at housegeeks.com. We'll be right back.
Do I need to plug that into your phone, Kirk?
Plug what?
Battery's got
No,
battery.
we're fine. I think we're fine. I think I had enough battery power.
Yeah, it looks good.
Or you could get up and check my battery power. You should be able to see that. And let me know.
I thought it was pretty cool.
I don't want to touch anything. I don't see any battery indication.
Let me.
We're fine. It's still,
Well, yeah, but the problem is if it goes off, then
we'll see it.
let's see. That didn't work. Okay, well, we'll just let it go. I don't want to stop it. All right. Nine-minute segment. I think I want to touch on, some home inspectors that just try to put the fear of death into the client versus just down to earth. Really, what are the issues? Not making big deals. And I think that transitions right into our minor issues thing.
Sure.
Cool. All right, ready? Welcome back to the Twin Cities Real Estate Show on AM 950 with the House Geeks. Today we're talking about the importance of home inspections. I'd like to thank Ruben Saltzman with Structure Tech for coming in, one of the owners of Structure Tech, and a honorary House Geek, that's for sure.
Thank you.
Okay, so, one of the things that drives me nuts, and we were talking about not needing any sort of licensing to become a home inspector, is the home inspector that tries to drive the fear of death into the buyers about issues that, it seems almost like they're just trying to scare them away from that one just to get them to buy another home inspection on another house
Oh my
versus
God, yes.
versus being just down to earth. Now, granted, if there's problems, I want to know about them. I want to be able to walk away from that purchase or negotiate appropriately. But, if it's the fear of death due to some ungrounded outlets, that worries me. You may be dealing with things that are, minimal expenditures. Yes, could it be a potential hazard? Possibly. But on the other hand, it's dealing with it appropriately, not just trying to make them feel like they, getting their money's worth out of a house that actually is pretty good. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
In your opinion, what do you think makes a qualified inspector?
Boy, that's a tough question. I mean, I talked about ASHI a lot in the beginning. I think that belonging to some type of professional organization would be absolutely a first step in a state like Minnesota where we don't have any type of licensing. I'd want to see somebody who's a member of at least ASHI, or there's another organization out there named Internachi.
I've heard of that one.
You can hop online and you can take their test online and you can join there. I mean, it's certainly better than nothing. It tells you that somebody has taken a few steps in the right direction to be a home inspector. Like seeing that, and I would want to see somebody who's had a lot of experience inspecting a lot of houses.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when we're training people, it's usually somewhere around 200 inspections that they end up going on before they go out on their own. Somewhere in that range. If somebody is brand new, I'd want to know how long they've been doing it for and how many houses they've inspected.
Well, I think that's a great question. I mean, I think that would be perfectly fair to say, yeah, how many homes have you inspected, and would you mind giving me the last 10 addresses or something along those lines, just to show it? Because I think, like we were talking about in the last segment, the idea of the shadowing and building up the knowledge, I think, is key. I mean, you're not gonna let a recent, person who just got their commercial pilot's license just, all right, hop in there, just go fly. All right?
Yeah.
No, you're going to sit there with the captain and fly for a long, long time before getting to do it on their own. And I think that is really important that, to back check. I know with our industry as realtors, I mean, I know I give Zillow a hard time a lot for certain things, but on the other hand, at least people can back check us there and see what we're doing.
They can look for reviews.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's huge. Whoever you're hiring, look online, see what other people had to say about them. And then look at sample inspection reports. I guess that's the biggest thing that anybody can do to check out a home inspection company is go on their website, download a sample, and see what it looks like. I recently had somebody tell me I'm looking to hire another couple more home inspectors for my team right now, and I got a referral to somebody. I looked on the guy's website. He's a home inspector, and I checked out his sample report, and there was so much that was just wrong about it. So many inconsistencies. I just went, I'm not even going to call the guy. I don't want to start with that level of knowledge. So reading a sample report can be really, really revealing.
Well, I have one that I saved because I thought it was the worst inspection I've ever seen. Handwritten in pencil, no
Lord.
pictures, no solution thought, or no it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
About 6 pages, bind it up in a little cheap plastic binder you get at Target or
They're
something.
out there.
And then you compare this to really premium inspection reports such as that you get when you go with Structure Tech. You'll get upwards of 30, maybe 40 pages of very useful information with color pictures and oftentimes links to the issues. Sometimes an inspector will put in inspector terms, this gas line needs this certain something or other that I don't even understand, but on the Structure Tech ones, you can click on this little link and it brings up a video that goes into detail and explanation of exactly what the issue is and the importance of the issue. And then you can save these reports, keep them in your records, and when you go to do updating in your house, you can refer back to these reports and see video explanations on how to actually do the updating, or is this something that needs a licensed contractor? I mean, the difference in the reports are just incredible.
Thank you.
What do you think, Ruben, as far as, what drives me nuts is I'll get, and it seems like it's from maybe that, inspector that is trying to just put that fear or isn't explaining very well, but you get issues that are completely appropriate for a home of that age, that you're getting a buyer to have all these things asked for, but maybe something that actually is a real issue they aren't addressing. I guess one of the things I wanted to touch on this segment is, what are some of the minor issues that you feel get blown out of proportion way too often?
probably the biggest one is plumbing. There's so many little things, little nuances where plumbing isn't completely up to code. We've got a really picky plumbing code here in Minnesota. There's so many different ways you can do stuff, and it still works fine. And we'll let our buyers know or our clients know, yeah, this technically isn't right, the end. That's about all that has to be said. But so often people get this blown out of proportion. They want it all brought up to code. Why? It's going to be okay.
Well,
Yeah, people have been washing dishes in that home for the last 100 years. They've been taking showers in that home for the last 100
well,
years.
unvented drains. I mean,
That's
you
a
go
fantastic example.
yeah, you go pre what 1940, or I guess
They
I don't
were
really.
doing vents back then, but I don't know why or how it's not consistent. But you go into old houses,
Yes.
and you may or may not have vents.
And it becomes this, it's unvented and sewer gas is going to get in, and it's the end of the world, and very, very expensive to fix usually to do it correctly.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, yeah, probably an issue that isn't one of the biggest in the world.
What's the difference between a life and health?
Life safety.
Yeah, I mean, the difference there between that and just things that are inconvenient.
One of the ones that I see a lot is ungrounded outlets, right?
Sure.
Right, two-prong outlets. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, a two-prong outlet, as long as you're only trying to plug a two-prong device into it, there should be no issue with that.
Yeah,
Right.
a two-prong outlet is not inherently unsafe. It's only unsafe if you're plugging in something that needs that third prong.
And you're
using
putting
an
that adapter. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to take a few steps to get to it being unsafe. Now, if you're using more modern equipment that needs a surge protector or it needs a ground, it'd be a good idea to have an electrician upgrade at least one outlet in that room so you can use the one outlet. But that's called an upgrade.
Right, yeah.
Not a defect.
Well, yeah, and we see that all the time. And most of these homes actually do have an outlet or two or three that have been upgraded and grounded, but maybe they just didn't do the whole run. All right, we're going to take another commercial break. Thank you again, Ruben, for coming in and talking to us about home inspections today. We're going to get into some of more of the major issues, or the ones that are commonly missed by your uncle who happened to used to build houses or something that you want to have run through your house. All right.
That'll
Okay.
be fun.
Yeah. All right. We'll be right back. Check us out online, housegeeks.com.
How long have you guys been doing this show?
Well, it's my going on 5th year doing it. These guys,
On and
Chad's
off.
been doing it with me for about a year, coming up on a year now. And Brian, you started with us about 8 months ago.
I remember May or something. It's been almost a year.
Has it? Okay. So I know we did a few shows with Adam and Danny, and then
Yeah, so Kirk and his brother started it 5 or so years ago, got real busy, let it go for a little bit, and then the station called them up and had a spot available, so we jumped on it.
Okay.
yeah, no, it was. I like doing it, and now that it's podcast and Facebook Live and all the stuff that you can do with it, YouTube, and just a good way to get.
It's a good way to give, like you do with the ASHI certification. It's a good way just to give back to the community and educate the people, and not being afraid to have informed consumers.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. I gave that 10 extra seconds. I'll let it run for. Thank you for tuning in to the Twin Cities Real Estate Show on AM 950 with the House Geeks. For the best real estate tools and stats, check us out online at housegeeks.com. If you're thinking about buying or selling a house, feel free to give us a call anytime at 612-207-5388. Again, 612-207-5388. Or if you just have a real estate question, happy to help answer those as well. Granted, we'd love if you bought or sold a home. That would be good.
It's
All right.
helpful.
It's just helpful,
Yeah,
Helps pay for
Kind of
the
what we
radio.
do. Yeah.
All right, today we have Ruben Soltzman Holtzman with Structure Tech coming in, talking about home inspections and the importance of home inspections. And we were talking about, what does it take to become a home inspector in the state of Minnesota. And if you missed that part, go back, listen to it on SoundCloud or watch it on our website. I think you'll learn a lot figuring out, how the state works with home inspections. And we were just finishing up some of the minor issues that maybe get blown out of proportion on home inspections. But what I'm most interested in, I guess, as a realtor are the major issues. I carry around quite a few. We all carry around here at the House Geeks quite a few tools to help potentially identify early on some problems, whether it's the moisture meter with water intrusion in the basement or, the thermal cam for lack thereof insulation or roof leak or something along those lines.
While at the same time, fully admitting we are not home inspectors.
Exactly.
The only thing we're trying to do is to limit our time in homes that may not be the right home from you so we can spend more time in the right home. Because the last thing you want to do is be in the wrong home while the right one's selling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the, spending, it takes up a lot of time and can cost a lot of money just to go, oh, you know what, there's water in the basement or a water problem. I want to finish this, and this is not a good foundation to do that.
Yes.
But what I always love is when an inspection comes back. I shouldn't say love it because the sale is probably going to come apart, but it shows the value of that home inspection, which is if something comes back, it's like, whoa, did not see that one coming. Thank you so much for catching that. And the buyers, thank you. And everybody is happy that you found those issues.
Sellers usually aren't.
No, the sellers usually are not. But on the other hand, you know what? These kind of things, if somebody is having a professional home inspection done, are going to show up.
Hopefully.
Pre-inspections for sellers, I don't think is a bad idea. A lot of people get worried, I don't want them to know about that. Well, do you want that to come back around and bite you in the butt later?
Yeah.
It's better to know about it ahead of time so you can fix it.
And also you get a punch list. You get the list of things that are issues or whether they're minor to major, what's going on. And a lot of those things, that's where your uncle that built the houses 20 years ago or you as a homeowner can do a lot of those things before you run into issues, so it's done ahead of time, and it can cost you a lot less to get it taken care of up front.
I just sold a townhouse, an urban townhouse, and it had an old furnace, it had a Federal Pacific breaker box, which was deemed dangerous, and it had a really old air conditioner, which may or may not be working. But the seller was really, really, really particular about a lot of the other things. Between those three items, you're talking $12,000 worth of repairs that need to be done in the immediate future. But he did all kinds of other little things, like he attached his stove to the wall so it didn't have the so it was preventing the stove from tipping.
Yeah.
He attached a little plumbing from the dishwasher up onto the underside of his counter. So he just eliminated all these little things off of the inspection report, knowing that they come up in a good inspection, and then disclosed the age of the furnace and the air conditioner. And it was a nice, clean report with 3 big issues, but none of those little issues that added up. And it was just a little preparation on his part prior to putting his house on the market, and it paid off huge in the end.
Where I think the inspection obviously comes most important, obviously, is for that buyer. And I always say that the cheapest inspection you can do is no inspection. Or I'm sorry, the most expensive. Yeah, I'm messing it up in my head here. The most expensive home inspection you can do is no home inspection at all. You think it's going to be cheap, but what ends up happening is maybe some really large item gets missed, or lots of little ones, whatever it may be, and you don't know about that, and you can't address it, and you may have been able to do that ahead of time.
What are some big issues that you've come across, Ruben, that weren't real obvious to the naked eye, but when you have a trained eye on those issues, they become apparent during the inspection?
I think without a doubt, the biggest one that I'm after on every home inspection is water intrusion at the walls. And I'm not talking about basement water. Yeah, that's something we all look for, and you can see where water goes. You can get a good idea. I'm talking about water intrusion around windows, kickouts where roofs end at walls, things like that. And it doesn't matter what type of siding you have, stone, stucco, vinyl, wood siding, all these different types of siding are extremely good at hiding that damage for a really long time. I mean, vinyl, you can have everything rotted out to absolutely nothing behind the vinyl, and the vinyl's still going to look good. Nobody ever knows that there's rot behind that vinyl until you get
Don't
the
tell
home
them.
inspection.
So your company did an inspection for one of my clients late last summer. It was a beautiful home, and they had a really strict criteria on what they wanted in a home. So they had their hearts set on this one. And I could see that something just wasn't quite right with a couple different things in there, but it seemed minor to my eyes. And I carry a lot of tools with me. I learned from you guys. I show up at the inspections, I watch what you guys do, and I try and weed some of those things out. But when one of your inspectors came out, he started seeing a little more than I saw. We knew the home needed new windows. We didn't know they were not flashed properly. We didn't know that rain was hitting those windows and running in between the siding and rotting the interior walls out behind those windows. And your inspector dug in a little bit with some moisture meters and then took his thumb and pressed on the window. And the whole window shifted, which was evident that the walls were rotting on the inside.
Yeah.
So your company probably saved this client an additional, who knows how much, but tens of thousands
yeah,
in
for sure.
repairs on a home that they absolutely were emotionally invested in because it was a rare style of home in an exact neighborhood that they wanted.
Sure.
Any other, water intrusion being a huge one? Are there some issues with roofs maybe that
With
can
roofs,
get?
sliding shingles, it's something that nobody ever thinks about. If you have a fairly new roof, people say, well, yeah, it's new, the shingles are in good shape. It doesn't mean that the roof is in good shape, because if it wasn't installed properly,
We see
the
a lot
shingles
of
can
that.
blow off.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been on countless new construction inspections where the roof wasn't installed right. My recommendation in those cases is either have the builder tear the whole roof off and redo it, and by roof I mean roof covering, the shingles. Tear them all off and redo it, or just get a letter from the manufacturer stating that they'll stand behind their warranty with this improperly installed covering.
Good luck
And
with that.
Well, I haven't seen it happen yet, but I would throw it out as an option. I don't want to be the bad guy. You can do either one of these things. So,
Yeah, we were doing a set of shows last couple of weeks talking about the construction of homes and how homes are built. I used to, remodel and rehab houses and did a couple ground up. And we were talking about the 1970s, fiberboard siding combined with the buffalo board
Yep.
as the sheathing and like the giant sponge that can be.
yeah.
Yeah, it's but yeah, I mean, it's the things that we're as agents and with clients, we're in the home for 15 minutes to 45
Half an hour,
45 minutes,
Yeah.
If we're lucky in a market like this, we get to do a second showing, but doesn't usually happen. Yeah, I know you're giving me what are
those
second
right
showings,
now?
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But how much time are you spending in that house typically?
I'd say on average 2 to 4 hours. I mean, if it's a 2-hour inspection, that is a really fast inspection. It's got to be a clean house, and it's got to be kind of a disinterested client who doesn't have a lot of questions and doesn't want to have a long conversation. I mean, we'd like to have our clients there the whole time. Some home inspectors like to have clients show up at the end. We'd rather have them there the whole time. We like to chat. But when I say 4 hours on the long end, it doesn't mean that they end at 4 hours. We've done 5, 6, 7-hour inspections too. Those are exceptions. Those are big houses, and those are usually pretty needy houses. But they take a long time. We're there for a while.
Question that I have is, and just get your thoughts on it. I come into a lot of older homes that have old boilers, right?
Yeah.
Is that a problem?
No, not necessarily. I mean, a lot of those old boilers will last just about forever. You need to maintain them. You need to make sure they're not leaking exhaust gas into the room. But no, I wouldn't say they're a problem right off the bat.
Now, when it comes to like furnaces, though, they actually that's much more of an item that is has a life expectancy.
Yeah,
to it.
furnaces right around the 15 to 20 year mark. I'd put them at the end of their life. Not too many exceptions to that.
What are your thoughts? I mean, we come across with older furnaces. You know, you get that at a certain point the heat exchanger gets cracked,
yeah.
right? And that's really the main thing that goes on those, correct?
Usually is, yeah. Once you got a cracked heat exchanger, that's the part that delivers the heat to the rest of the house. Once that's failed, you don't replace the heat exchanger. You replace the
Actually,
furnace.
that's what I was going to ask you. I actually ran across one where they replaced the heat exchanger.
Well, yeah, it does happen. If you have a newer one, maybe less than 10 years old.
That
If
was
it's
the
still under-
situation,
If it's still
yeah.
under
Okay.
warranty.
Yeah.
Yeah, then it might make sense to have it done. But usually people end up finding the cracked heat exchangers on much older furnaces. And at that point, it's like saying, all right, we got a 15, 20-year-old car, the engine's blown up. Do we want to replace the engine? Well, no. You get a new car.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on one of the big common things I run into is especially in St. Paul, Minneapolis, and first ring suburbs, houses with single pane windows and storms.
Mm-hmm.
And like, single pane, I got to replace these.
You will never get your money back doing that. If you have single pane windows and you have storm windows, great. Be happy with it. If you want to get new windows, I'm not trying to talk people out of it, but get new windows for the same reason you'd get a new couch. You're doing it because you want to, not because you're expecting to get a payback on it.
And I think, what I hear, and I tell people kind of the same thing, that's like, a single pane window with a good storm is pretty close to as efficient as a dual pane argon film.
You're not going to see any difference in your energy bills. I mean, the seasonal changes in daily temperature are going to be a far bigger effect on your energy bills than switching those windows out. Yeah, not a fan of that.
Are there any other, we're going to take a commercial break here in about 30 seconds, any other big issues that you've come across that maybe not everybody else catches?
Well, aluminum wiring, that's huge. If you have a house that's wired with aluminum branch circuits, that is a really big deal. It's probably one of the biggest electrical defects that we can come across. Attic issues. If you have major attic problems that cause ice dams lead to water leakage, and water leakage will cause all kinds of problems. So,
yeah, I remember when you came in and you were showing like the different ways people were removing ice dams. That was kind of interesting.
Fun.
Yeah,
That's fun.
Power
yes.
washers.
Yes, the power washers.
Oh my goodness.
All right, we're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, I want to talk about the tech in home inspections that you guys are using.
Sounds good.
All right. Check us out online at housegeeks.com. Follow us on Facebook. Just type in House Geeks. Look for the little glasses in the house. That's us. All right. We'll be right back.
For the tech part, I want to mention the blog at some point.
Cool.
I don't
Yeah.
know if I mentioned in my last thing I did, but I got a blog that I do on the website. There's a new post every week. That's where all the links go to.
Cool.
And I spend a
Yeah, I mean, it's
ton of time on it.
this last segment goes really fast. I'm gonna let you just kind of run with it. I don't have anything but new tech, so
Okay.
chat about whatever you want.
All right. Cool.
And then we'll try and ask you questions to keep you going.
Yeah. On the
Take
tech.
take this last segment.
Sounds good.
Welcome back to the Twin Cities Real Estate Show on AM 950, sponsored by Bricks Real Estate. Check us out online for the latest and greatest home searching and researching tools. If you're thinking about selling your house, we have some great home evaluation tools on there as well. Give us a call at 612-207-5388. Again, 612-207-5388 with any of your real estate questions or with your buying or selling needs. Be happy to help you out. Today we have Ruben in with Structure Tech. I appreciate you coming in again. And, I know, and just, from having you come in to our brokerage and kind of help us out as agents, getting a better idea of some of the big things to keep an eye out for, that you guys really know what you're doing out there in the world of inspections. And, and that's the kind of people we want to surround ourselves by as the House Geeks. We want to be on top of the people that are really geeky about houses. And there's nothing more geeky than tech in real estate. And we love tech, whether it's the online tech or the tools while we're out and about. What are some of the things as home inspectors that have come along in the last 10 years that have helped identify issues above and beyond what you may have been able to find, with not make it so hard.
Well, you're looking for tools in that question, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm thinking about what I do online right away, but I think you're
tools
going
and
down another
tech.
path.
Yeah, tools and tech, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah.
As far as tools go, I mean, without a doubt, the infrared camera. That's been a little bit of a game changer. It's shown us so many things that we never knew about before. Using those in attics, I mean, it really changed my tune when I tell people about attic problems. I used to talk about ventilation and insulation. I'd preach that up until about 2009 when I got my first infrared camera. Maybe it was 2010, right in there. And I started realizing, it's not that at all. It's all about air leaking up into the attic. And until I got an infrared camera, I had no idea. And at first we started offering this. We'd juggle one camera, then we got another camera.
Well, the cost was a little bit higher back then.
Higher,
Yeah, a little bit.
But I mean, at some point we just said, I don't care how much this costs. We're getting nice cameras for everybody. We need to do this.
I know Seek Thermal. That's what got me to. I mean, I was actually looking at it. The ones that were a couple $1,000. I'm like, okay, I think I might do this. And then Seek came out with the ones that you can hook up right to the iPhones or the small handheld device like you've got, Chad. And wow, did that just bring the cost and put it in the palm? I mean, yeah. You walk in, you look up, and you thought you suspected an ice dam, and yep, there it is. And you can see it clear as day.
Yes. So that gives us new vision. Drones are kind of the coolest new thing. We got a drone maybe, I don't know, a year or two ago because you had to get the drone first, get the serial number and register it to get some type of FAA exception to be able to fly commercially. And gosh, that took forever. And we're at the point now where we just said, forget it. I don't want to jump through all those hoops. We're going to hire another company to come out and do drone.
I do have my
roof that we can't get at.
I do have my pilot's license. So for $500-600, I'll gladly fly over the roof, take a couple pictures for you.
Well, guess what? We're doing it for free. I found somebody to do it for even a little less than what you're charging.
All right.
I know, and we throw that in with the inspection. We don't. Those roofs are few and far between that we can't access with a ladder. But
you run across those third-story Victorians with
if it's one of those,
spiral.
We will arrange somebody to come out and do a drone inspection. So that's been a new tool we've added. Probably the biggest technology game changer that we've had for our business has been the blog. I've been doing a blog every Tuesday morning for almost the last 10 years now, religiously. And that has really changed everything. I mean, it forces me to research topics. It makes us think about stuff. It changes the way we inspect houses. And like Chad was saying earlier, you've got all these links in our inspection report to more information. All that information is stuff that we've written, mostly me, and it's all stuff
over the last decade.
Yeah, exactly, and it's for our home inspection clients.
So if they go to the Structure Tech website, they can access the blog there.
Yeah,
can they search the blog then?
You know what? You can search home inspection blog, and you'll find it.
Okay.
It should be the first thing you find.
Yeah,
you'll find it no matter what you type in. You can spell Ruben any way you want. Ruben's blog. I think you'll find it.
I'll tell you firsthand that's an excellent resource for anybody selling a home, anybody buying.
I think I need to add that to
anybody
my
that lives in a home. It's a good resource for, and any real estate agent out there that might be listening.
And another tool. I mean, the digital camera changed home inspections, but that was right around 97, 98. The next thing that we've started using is videos. We take videos during home inspections, an average of maybe one video an inspection, something like that. And we use those if there's something where a picture just doesn't quite capture it. We'll put it on our YouTube channel and put a link to that in our inspection report. I just recently put together a compilation. This video I titled 60 Home Inspection Defects in 3 Minutes. And it's just non-stop home inspection stuff. I mean, just bam, 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 one after another. It's entertaining. If you're not into home inspection, you'll enjoy it.
Looking at weird, funny things, strange, defect, whatever you want, I don't know. I always find it entertaining. I have a ton of pictures on my phone, and I'll regularly be showing clients, and they're like, just everybody starts laughing, because the electrical panel in the shower,
you got to start sending those to me. I love those too.
Oh yeah, the stuff that we see on a almost daily basis.
Yes, I was say almost every day you see something that just you sit there and you go, what were they thinking?
One of the best that I've personally ever come across was a dirt driveway that somebody seal coated.
No.
No, that's
No,
serious.
that's impossible. No, I need to see a picture of that.
Yeah. Oh, go. It's on our House Geeks page.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, there's that. And so for about a week, it looked like an asphalt driveway, and then it rained. And then it looked like a desert landscape because it just all cracked
Oh,
all
sure,
the way across.
Sure, unbelievable.
Are there any real doozies you've come across that are just?
Well, there was one just yesterday. I was doing an inspection on a home that was not quite a year old, and I went down to the furnace room and looked at the furnace. They've got a big hole cut in the side of the return grill. And I said, I know why the heating contractor did this. The ductwork was whistling. The ductwork was probably undersized. There's not enough air coming in, so they cut a big old hole in the side of it. Now it doesn't whistle, but now what are you doing? You're sucking all your air out of the basement.
Yeah.
Right.
That means your upper
Circulating
level is
through the whole house.
pressurized.
Yep.
You got uneven pressures, and it's a walkout basement. You're going to end up with condensation and mold and all kinds of problems on that walkout wall that's just covered with poly. Because you're pulling in outdoor air. Now, I could spend a half hour discussing this, but, I mean, what it comes down to is there's a big hole somewhere where it didn't belong.
Mm-hmm.
And to the untrained eye, you'd walk right past it and go, well, yeah, it's just a big return. But it's understanding a house as a whole, taking a holistic approach and understanding that moving this is going to affect this.
And one of the biggest things that scares me when I walk into a house is that handyman approach, to fixing things. I mean, there's nothing more scary to me. I mean, it's one thing, okay, yeah, there's a problem. Okay, there's a problem with something and it needs to be fixed. I get that. But what really worries me is there's a problem and it wasn't fixed right. And how many other problems weren't fixed right throughout this house?
It's always more expensive to go back in and fix it the second time than it is to just do it right the first time. I don't understand why people don't get that.
Yeah, and they just try to be cheap on it. Well, Ruben, I want to thank you once again for coming in. I really appreciate the conversation today, and I know I'm going to use this show to have clients listen to it and learn more about home inspections. If you have any questions for us, feel free to give us a call at 612-207-5388. Again, 612-207-5388. Check out Structure Tech. Go to their website. You can find the blogs and more information about them if you have any questions for them and on what they do. We'll be back next week.